Welcome back, beautiful people. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Now, coming on in just a few, we have Alex and Rob Scheer, a father son pioneer in making a difference. Today, we are chatting orphan myth, their unique story, and how Comfort Cases is changing the world. You have to check them out at comfortcases.org. Now, back in April of this year, Tiffany Haddish and a number of notable celebrities teamed up to support children globally as part of Orphan Myths Initiative. I'm a proud ambassador to this organization founded by my dear friend Lindsay. Now, Orphan Myths 100% participation campaign aims to offer support for the world's most vulnerable children. Other notable celebrities involved in the campaign included Ben Higgins from The Bachelor, Lyric Ross from This Is Us, Ryder Allen from Palmer, and Nelson Mandela's grandson, Kwaku Mandela, who also happens to be a dear friend of mine. Mega influencers like Armand Perry and Rudy Bundini also stepped up to the plate. The 2 week campaign back in April was supported by 30 plus nonprofit organizations and several celebrity ambassadors, focused on the collective commitment to one big idea that it's going to take 100% of us to get 100% of children into a safe and loving family. Children are often separated from their families because of poverty. An estimated 80% of children in orphanages have at least one living parent. And with the right support, many could be reunited with their families. Now, this pandemic has genuinely affected everyone, and for some kids, has left them without a parent. Somewhere between 37,000 and 45,000 children lost a parent to COVID 19. This caused a rise in orphaning from 18 to 20%. With more than 420,000 kids in the foster care system, only about 100,000 are waiting for their new home. Think about this one. The median age for kids in the foster system is 6.5. About 20,000 youths age out of the foster system just to go into adulthood with no earnings and sometimes even homelessness. And as an ambassador to this amazing organization, I say, let's fund the families, not the orphanages. Joining me now is Rob Scheer, founder of Comfort Cases and the author of A Forever Family, Fostering Change One Child at a Time. Now, Rob's memoir tells the inspiring story of his journey from foster care to foster parent and his drive to rebuild this broken system. His son Alex also joins him today very proudly, who he recently adopted. And after Rob pulled him out of a lifetime of being in the foster care system, their story had a beautiful silver lining at the end. The rest is history. Here to tell their story directly to us are Rob and Alex Scheer. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us.
I am so happy that you were able to join me today. I first met you and your son back at the Orphan Myth fundraiser. So it's nice to have you on. Rob, let's get down to it here. Walk me through your overall story in foster care and how it inspired Comfort Cases.
Yeah, well, I'm the youngest of 10 kids, and I ended up in the system at the age of 12 carrying a trash bag. I will never forget that first night, how scared and how I couldn't believe that this was my life. But I think the most surprising part is that I was part of the statistics of those 20 to 30,000. When I turned 18, I was a senior in high school, and I actually became homeless. And I lived on the streets my entire senior year of high school. And I was supposed to be the statistic. You know, we have see that less than 54% of kids in foster care actually graduate from high school, and only 3% get a college education. And I was on that path that I was going to be one of those kids. But instead, I joined the United States Navy. I became a very successful businessman, and I never looked back until 13 years ago when 4 of my 5 children arrived in my home from foster care carrying a trash bag. I knew at that moment that as a leader, and by the way, we're all leaders, that we had to make change and we had to make sure that children in the system are given hope and dignity. You know, we started Comfort Cases, wanting to give a child when they enter an overnight bag. But little did I know that 2 years ago, the most amazing thing would happen. I'd meet my son, Alex. I was actually giving a speech at a local high school and I met him. And I wasn't thinking about being a dad again and having any more kids. My husband and I already had 4 kids at that time. But I just saw Alex. And when I saw Alex, I saw myself. I saw myself as a boy who was 18 years old, just like Alex was, that had been in the system and that was going to age out. And he was probably going to be a statistic. And I couldn't let that happen. So about 3 months after meeting Alex, I asked him to move home.
That's so beautiful. Congratulations. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
That is quite the story. So tell me the first thought that went through your mind when you saw Rob, and what what drew you to him?
Um, Mainly his story. I connected with it so much that afterwards I just, just had to meet him.
And tell me about your upbringing. Now, you spent your almost what sounds like your entire life in the foster care system. Do you have any brothers or sisters that you know of?
I do. I entered the system at 17, actually.
Got it.
Um, and I do have a brother and a sister. They never ended in the system though.
And when you were the first time that you got to your foster home, or you entered into the group home, were you obviously, like your dad, that was a feeling of fright and being alone, but what's the one thing that most people don't know about orphans once you get there and once you live in the system and you're a part of it? What's something that you want to share with everybody that nobody would really know unless they've lived it?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, just
Were,
just who you are as a person.
were you ever afraid?
Um, I'm sure there were nights that I was.
And what did you ever see yourself coming out of it in a family, or in your mind this was it and you were going to eventually age out of it?
Yeah, I didn't see myself in a family much.
So you met your dad and everything changed, and
Hmm.
obviously he inspired you. Where What's your relationship like with your brothers and sisters currently at home?
It's a good relationship. I mean, I'm the oldest, so try to be that example for them.
The greatest part about it is that, we do have four other children. And I will never forget the very first time that Alex got to meet our other kids. And after that night, Alex had gone back to his foster home. And my kids were like, Dad, we have to do something for Alex. And I said, I know, I just don't know what. And one of my sons said, Daddy has to come home. So automatically they had felt this connection, and to see them now, to see my kids and my husband and I with Alex, it was like Alex has always been there. And I say this quite often to people. I only have one regret, only one, and that is that I didn't get to walk Alex into kindergarten holding his hand. But I've got to see him graduate from high school. He's now a sophomore in college. He is the most amazing older brother. And this is National Adoption Awareness Month. Most people don't realize that this month alone, more kids in foster care get adopted than any other day of the year. And we need to make sure that we talk about the 100,000 children that are like Alex, that are sitting in foster care because of choices other people made. And if we don't have these conversations, they're going to end up on the street. And I will tell you, if we don't take care of them today, you're going to take care of them tomorrow, because we all know that the statistics show us that kids in the system go from the system to the penitentiary. 80% of our prison inmates have either been in foster care or touched by foster care. We've made some mistakes and we have to fix them. And I just hope that we can do that one child at a time.
And doing that one child at a time and one comfort case at a time is exactly the vision that you had of assembling these backpacks filled with comfort and personal care items to deliver to local DCFs. And I know I've read that you had a packing party back in December, and it kind of felt very authentic to get involved and really help. So I commend you for what you do, because comfort cases, I mean, has been featured everywhere, and you guys are in the UK now. So it's global. You've gone to the next level. So congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. We have actually delivered over 150,000 comfort cases to all 50 states, DC, Puerto Rico. And yes, during the height of the pandemic, we actually opened up a center in the United Kingdom where we have over 80,000 children in foster care that are treated just like the kids here in our country. As the time runs up, I want to let you know something. People ask me all the time, why do we do this? Kids all over the country who I've met who have opened up a comfort case and pulled out their brand new pair of pajamas, their brand new book, their toothbrush, their toothpaste. They ask me, why would someone do this? I wanted all of you to know you do not have to know someone to love someone. And we must remember that. We do not have to know someone to love someone. And we need to love these children because at the end of the day, they don't belong to you. They don't belong to me, but they belong to us.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And those are very wise words, my friend. Alex, you are in great hands. I can't thank you both for joining us and telling me your story. It was quite the amazing interview having both of you here because this is the type of story that you want to set a precedence. There are families that can make a difference. And Rob, that's exactly what you and your husband are doing. So congrats.
Thank you.
You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Do check out Comfort Cases. They're all over the gram and online, comfortcases.org. We'll be right back after this.